only one.
It's a bucket of water. Tomorrow, it's a bucket of who knows what.
I want to be crystal clear about this. I will never ask my officers to tolerate abuse. They put their life on the line for every citizen in this city every day. And assaults and abuse against the uniform can and will be met by zero tolerance. That is all.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. Mac McGee and Justin Waller taking you into this Monday morning. Justin, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Mac. Great weekend. Looking forward to how this tanks out for the NFL. Kind of scratching my head. But man, just a weird, exciting weekend from.
It really is.
I mean, I was kind of blown away when I read some of it. I mean, me and the wife were out and about.
Justin, I'm not going to lie. When I first read this, and I don't mean to catch you up. When I first read it, dude, I thought it was a spoof. I swear I thought it was spoof. I thought I was going to get to the end and there's going to be like a paragraph like, gotcha, you know? And I was like, no, wait a minute. This is actually, it was from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Now, the person who wrote it, you can tell they're very woke just by the way that the words that they chose. And so I'm wondering how much of this is actually true and how much is it hyperbole, because the playing of the anthem thing, I can see them doing, but some of the other stuff that they say that they're going to do in the article, I've not seen this by Goodell or anybody. The putting of all the signs that we saw last year in basketball, and you had some in the NFL. But you really think that's going to go down with fans in the stands? I don't think it's going to be recepted well. What say you?
I think it'll backlash like you've seen across the other sports. I mean, most notably the NBA, but the MLB has seen their backlash. I mean, they had the lowest rating at home coverage for the All-Star game this year. I think 2019 was actually a little bit lower, but there's some in-home statistics that point that this year was actually for folks at home tuned in less. So I think everybody's feeling it. I just think it's a weird, odd stance. Not that
the funny thing was, though, they still were neck and neck with the NBA Finals game that took place a few days before. It just tells you the popularity of Major League Baseball. The one thing that Major League Baseball
has the NFL preseason games trump them both.
The one thing that typically the MLB All-Star game goes through the roof. This year it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great, right? Typically the MLB All-Star game goes through the roof, but then again, typically there's nothing going on in the world of sports at that time either. That now Major League Baseball's ratings are up a ridiculous amount. I mean, this is as high as they've ever been, and a lot of things with streaming and whatnot. They other than the goofy decision with the All-Star game, they haven't really embraced this kind of junk, right? And I do believe that the Major League Baseball owners would step in and tell Manfred to shut the hell up and don't ruin our product. Keep your politics out of it. I'm a little surprised the NFL owners would go along with this. Do you see them going along with this for a 16 game or 17 game season where I'll just pick a random team. We'll just take your Tennessee Titans up there in Nashville, where they have like social justice things all over their backdrop, especially with all of the criticism that they go and they partnership and get in bed with BLM, and BLM's had a lot of backlash here recently. I mean, they've had people resigning because it's come out that, basically that money has gone to just, basically for them to get a bunch of damn houses, and that it has not gone back into the communities like it was once promised. So I think I have to hear it from the horse's mouth before I believe it. for it to be to the degree that I read in the article. What say you?
Yeah, I think it's really going to depend on the strategic placement of this and how they roll it out. I mean, if they take an NBA approach, I say it will dramatically, or I can at least speak for probably the Titans market. I think it will affect the attendance in those seats. I'm not saying that season ticket holders haven't already purchased these tickets, but they'll be sold off opposing teams. I mean, you'll see a difference in attendance. I mean, they'll recoup their money at some point. I mean, it's a hot commodity. People want to get out and about. They're going to go to football games after being caged up. So I don't think that you're not going to have folks there, but I think you'll have a lot of selling, and you're going to lose a lot of your season ticket holder base, and it might trickle over into renewals for the following season, just depending on, again, do they go more of a Major League Baseball? They acknowledge it, they address it, they work it off air, or do they make it public theater like the NBA and just force it down throats? And I think that's two different strategies, and depending on where they take is how it affects them. Well, completely all the way around, from attendance to ratings at home.
It's one thing if you're going to take money and you're going to donate it to certain causes. Okay, it is what it is. It's another thing to have the home viewer, because the home viewer is what really makes the money, right? It's got nothing. They make money off the tickets. Don't get me wrong, but when it's all said and done, they don't want to run off the home viewer because that's where their bread is buttered. And if you constantly have the imagery that was put on the NBA courts and in the backdrops, if you do that, I think you're going to run off a pretty strong part of the American football fan. You're not going to run me and you off because we just love the sport and we can kind of compartmentalize it, I believe, or at least I know that I can't speak for you. They won't run me off per se. I may not watch as much. I may not be as, into it, but considering all the fantasy sports, fantasy football that we do and whatnot, I'm not going to like not watch on Sunday. Right. I refuse to let them do to me what they did to Forbes, which was basically they took away Forbes's favorite sport in basketball. He doesn't watch it anymore. And I'm like, you're really only cheating yourself. If that truly is your favorite sport, you're only cheating yourself. But I understood why it ticked him off.
And
I get that. I refuse to let the idiots win, basically. But I'm in the minority.
I mean, in his background, without being specific, I can see that as a direct attack, and I don't think that would sit well with me either if I was in that profession or that category. So
well, he was also in the Army too, so there's that too.
Yeah. I get it both sides. I think the big problem with it is there's no problem with the outreach and the thought and idea behind the meaning of the slogans that are plastered all over the wall. The problem is it's a political slogan that has an underlying meaning that people haven't done homework into, and it alienates a lot of folks. And there's compromise on both sides. I wish that discussion could be had, and maybe you can have a different moniker or something that can be put up that gets your point across of what to achieve, but doesn't support an organization that to half of the fan base is anti-American.
Yeah, especially if they end up, if the National Football League goes in the direction that the Olympics is going in, where they're talking about redesigning the Olympic flag, if the NFL goes in the direction of like not flying the American flag, that's good. Look, do I think the national anthem realistically belongs in any of these games? Not really, because to be honest with you, it was a marketing ploy by the federal government years ago. And it's not really needed across the board, but it's become a tradition over the last 20 years. Before that, before the second Desert Storm, they never did the national anthem before games. It wasn't a thing. They started doing that around 2001. Only other time you would ever see it is when someone would actually sing it at like the Super Bowl or something. So to me, the whole thing just reeks of phoniness to begin with. But when you start doing these other things and you really are going the extra mile to put politics in it. And so that's, and that's just, I will say this, if they start putting anything but the American flag out there while people are standing for the anthem or whatever's going on during the anthem, there's going to be a big backlash on that. You can't go as woke as they think they can go. You go woke, you go broke. We've heard that slogan 1,000 times, right? And you better be careful, NFL. You're not as undefeated as you think you are. If you get that moniker on you and you get that label on you that you only want certain demographics watching your sport, they will leave you, because they did it in the NBA, and I don't think they're coming back anytime soon. Do you?
And now with the the pay to play per se to be legal in college football, as they start ramping this up and they're getting creative with their marketing stuff, I think you're going to see a transition in product. College football, if they're smart, the NCAA is losing money now, but they're looking at what's happening, and hopefully the great minds are saying, let's capitalize on this. I liked what Michigan did over the weekend, just to kind of change gears a little bit. They went with customized jerseys, something that had been long, made a agreement with their in-house, the MDN store, to exclusively have that with their current roster players for you to go and buy that. And every player has that contract from the team top to bottom. Now, granted, most popular players are going to sell more, but the lowest guy on that has the same opportunity to sell jerseys and make money. Like, this is going to start rolling out across all of these. And I think you're going to see a big emphasis in the college product be ramped up.
And with that, you're going to see more college kids try to do the shocking thing to get their jerseys sold. And so just watch out for that. That's coming this year. Mark my words right now. There's going to be college players that are going to do something political, and whether it sells their jersey or not, because it might have the exact opposite effect, you're going to see them try to do it, because if they think they can get their Instagram followers to buy their jersey because they did something political, you're going to see that. So that pendulum is going to swing both ways. You're going to see other guys that are going to stay out of it, and if they're as good as advertised preseason, they're probably going to sell jerseys, because fans will be more. There's a lot of fans out there will be more willing to purchase player A's jersey because he has stayed out of the politics, right or left, than the kid who's trying to make a splash and he does something. And I don't even know what, I don't have something in mind, but something to the effect of like what Colin Kaepernick did, but something. They're gonna have to one up each other, because you can't do the same thing everyone else does if you actually want to get your name out there. Kind of like the chick that threw the activist T-shirt over her head during the national anthem. Like, that wasn't a money grab. What the hell was that? You didn't just turn your back on the national anthem, then you put a T-shirt over your head that you're trying to sell. I mean, what the hell's next? Brought to you by Pepsi. I mean what the hell's next? But anyways, we could, if this was the Joe Rogan experience for 3 hours, we could go on and on about this. But
I mean, we ain't even got into Yankees, Red Sox, or Padres with Nationals and drive-by shootings. I mean, where do we need to go with the problems in the world in sports?
Well, I think we need to bring everyone's day up a little bit. So let's start off with the War Eagles Auburn day here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're going to tell you exactly what to expect from these Auburn Tigers as they lose Gus Malzahn. They're going into a new era now, and it should be a fun year for most Auburn Tiger fans, I would think. You got, first of all, Bo Nix comes back, and with Bo Nix coming back, he's a junior now. I think he's actually technically could be a sophomore according to the NCAA stuff. But if Bo Nix ends up being what they think Bo Nix is going to be, I doubt he stays 5 years at Auburn. So Malzahn is out. They go out to Boise State and get Brian Harsin, who, by the way, went 69-19 at Boise State. I know they don't play the schedule that he's about to face in Auburn, but he basically took over a Boise State program and kept it going, where that's not as easy as people think it is, right? So you got to give the guy some credit there. And looking at them offensively,
Well, and don't forget at Arkansas State, he won a championship just like was it Chiswick and Freeze, I believe, or was it Malzahn and Freeze? It may have been Malzahn and Freeze that both former head coaches that have moved on, but coming out of Arkansas State. So he's had success outside of just Boise State and his coordinator positions.
and that was Arkansas State before they made the move, right? The championship that you're talking about. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yes.
So with that being said, he's inheriting a kid that's a very athletic quarterback. And so I really think that they're going to be good. I think they're going to be better than a lot of people expect. But did you see this over the weekend? Did you see this kid? I want to make sure I get his name right. Tony Fair. Did you see what Tony Fair did, Justin? I don't know if
I
it was,
did not, sir.
Oh my God. So it blew up Twitter. Listen to this. Tony Fair, who's a transfer. He is, see, where's he expected to be at this year? I don't have him on my updated depth chart. So let me see if I can find it. Anyways, Tony Fair. Okay. He's right now slated as a second string defensive tackle. He comes out on Twitter and says, "We coming to take the head off the elephant. War damn Eagle natty." Well, you can imagine the reactions from Alabama fans on Twitter of some guy transferring from UAB back in May saying, "We're going to take the head off the elephant." And some of the responses were funny. Some of the responses I can't, put on air, but the gist of it was most fans were like, "Hey dude, it's July, man. Why don't you worry about working out and not worrying about a game in November?" So that's,
I mean, if you're going to put some locker room material for the Iron Bowl, I would wait at least till I get my first W for my first time head coach in the SEC before I start calling out the elephant.
right. The literal,
I'm worried about the Tigers too.
It's now going to be the literal elephant in the room going forward, right? Because now, unless this guy gets injured, that's going to be, dude, do you think the next practice at Alabama that they're not going to have that pasted on everyone's locker? There's no way that Nick Saban and company doesn't take advantage of this. I'm like, kid, you're not even expected to start. You're coming from UAB. You didn't transfer from the Gators or Clemson or whatever. You transferred from UAB, and you're not even good enough to start preseason. And we're supposed to, and you're the second coming. Come on, what the hell are we doing here? These social media kids, man, I tell you. But anyways, with that being said, the good news for Auburn fans, evidently Bo Nix went to the Manning Passing Academy this offseason. And
he did. And if he doesn't sure it up, remember they have TJ Finley that transferred in from LSU that they expect to put a lot of pressure. And I mean, who knows, could have the potential to compete. He might come out with it if Bo doesn't settle in there and be the quarterback that they drafted him to be. Because so far, I don't feel like he's lived up to what Auburn hyped him to be.
No, not so far. And I think that's got a lot to do with why Malzahn lost his job, is because I think a lot of the higher ups in the alumni believed that he should have been able to get more out of an athlete like Bo Nix. And they almost think that Malzahn's a one-trick pony. He can only basically have success with a like an option type quarterback, right? And so when you look at some of Auburn's better teams, they were never big time passing. Cam Newton's a little bit of the exception, but that wasn't even Malzahn. That was Chiswick. Ever since Malzahn's taken over, it's pretty much been that really strange misdirection type option offense that Auburn ran. Now you're going to get more of a traditional offense. Here's the thing, though. All right, they're going to start off with a couple of cupcakes in Alabama State and Akron. So you like that. But then they go to Penn State. I'll tell you what, that's a really cool out-of-conference game. You don't see stuff like that a lot. Big Ten versus SEC out of conference. That's a fun game. So I'm looking forward to that. And then they get Georgia State. They're at LSU, at home against Georgia, and at Arkansas in a 3-game stretch when they finally get into SEC play. Then they have a week off to go to Ole Miss. They're at A&M, at home against Mississippi State, at South Carolina, and then them Elephants come calling on November 27th. And it'll be in Auburn, but them Elephants are going to come calling around November 27th. Where do you see this team at this year? Most sports books have their over under somewhere around 8.5 to 7.5.
Ooh. Well, if it was at 7, I was going to go the over because I push it. I think they're at a 7-win team. I feel that's probably first year coming in where they are. I don't know what to expect, which quarterback's going to start. I expect a lot of high offense, but we also know you run into a stout defense and you don't get that going. You bleed your own defense out. So I could see some games getting ugly and getting away from them. I'm going to put them at 7 wins.
See,
I'm going to have to go under on the 8.5.
Best case scenario, I see above 8.5. I see a team that could go 9 wins. Hell, if everything fell right, they could go 10. I think it would be a lot to ask for them to like run the table and this be a national title type team, because you're talking about, like you said, a new coach taking over. But the big games that they're going to have to win if they're going to get to 9 wins are going to be at Penn State, at LSU. And we expect LSU to be better than they were last year, because if not, look out. I don't care if you want a national title or not there. Old Bayou boy's going to have to start updating his resume if they were as bad as they were last year. So I expect them to be better. But when you've got Georgia and Alabama on your schedule, and I know that they're both at home, so that gives you a fighting chance to win one of those. I still think those are 2 losses. The A&M game, the LSU game, and the Penn State game are really interesting to me. A&M is being ranked in the top 10 on a lot of preseason polls because of their defense coming back. But college football is not won anymore on defense. It's won on quarterback. And the fact that it took them 5 years to get Kellen Mond to be functional, I just don't have a lot of faith in A&M. So Auburn, that's a game where I think Auburn could go in there and sneak in and get a W. But to get all of those, LSU, Penn State, even with Penn State not being the terror that they were a couple of years ago, dude, Penn State, if that's I don't know what time of game day that's scheduled for yet, but if that's one of those nighttime whiteout games, ooh, place gonna be rocking, absolutely rocking.
Yeah, I think that's taller. That's why I have them at 7. I have them losing those 3, but I can see where you get to 8, so they pull one of those off. But I can't think they're going to upset 2 of the 3 in the first year. I'll probably, if I'm leaning, give them the Penn State, say they drop to LSU and Texas A&M, but that's just how I have it played out in my head. I could see where they could win the A&M. I don't think they beat LSU, Georgia, or Alabama this year.
I really think they'll probably lose Penn State, but they're going to have to. I could see them upsetting LSU or A&M, but Georgia and Alabama are going to be really good this year. We got to run out of here. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
Oh, man, Nashville Predators, buddy. They've been annihilated. The rebuild is on, and just waiting for the Kraken to come cherry pick on Wednesday. So, man, I'm bummed out over this.
That Kraken draft, does that go down all in one day?
The initial Wednesday, they will pick all from the players of the league teams, and then they get the second overall pick in Friday's draft.
Okay, so
they won't fully fill their roster, but they get to come around and pick from all teams that are in the league now, pull a player from them, and then they go in with the second overall pick on Friday. That starts Friday. So
yeah,
the initial core of their team will start Wednesday, and it's lining up to where it has the potential with some funny accounting or some creative accounting. They could literally build a dream team that you think Vegas has run has been good. This could be bad.
That's interesting because Sean told us a couple of months ago that he didn't think that that's the way the Kraken were going to do it. I was like, which I disagreed. I'm with you. I think that they're going to, like, why wouldn't you? If you're able to cheat that way and get your way in and get your fan base excited, they're not going to get excited about next season buying tickets. If you say, hey, we're building for the future. I would think that the Kraken are going to be good next year because of what we saw from Vegas. And
I assume you expect no less the same results, right?
Yeah, and I don't expect it to be much of a fallout either, because when Vegas did that, what is that, 4 or 5 years ago now? They're still really damn good. It's not like, oh, well, they had a 1 year, 2 year run and they've sucked ever since. No, they've been relevant every single year. Hell, we thought they were going to get to the finals this year. Then they ran into.
They're about to become a fan favorite after Seattle's roster gets assembled. They're gonna be like, man, that Vegas thing wasn't that bad. What were we complaining about?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna have a hard time pulling for either one of them, but it might turn into a situation where they're in the Western Conference Finals, and I'm banging the gavel for the Las Vegas Knights like I thought I would never see. Because I'm already not going to like the Kraken because it's a stupid name, but I'm also not going to like the Kraken because they're cherry picking everybody.
Oh, you don't like the Crack House? I mean, that's a cool arena.
I haven't seen.
I assume that's where they play. Who knows? Could be Chop or Chaz. We don't know what they're going to do out there.
Yeah, I haven't seen the arena, but I think the name is dumb. I just do. But the good news with it, it's going to be hard to get cancel cultured on that since it's make believe. So
I don't know. Release the Kraken. The mottos that they playing out in these hype videos sound like that needs to be canceled.
Oh, really? I may not have seen all of them. All right, brother. Well, we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk LSU and talk about the Louisiana State Tigers and see how they're going to bounce back after winning a national championship and then sucking next year.
Maybe we can get Coach O to stop by, give us a few words.
Maybe, man. I'll see if I can.
Maybe we can get Coach O to swing by and give us some upbeat thoughts.
All right, brother. All right, brother. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
We're going to be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. When we come back, Doug is on the way, and we're going to talk fantasy football. We're going to talk running backs on fantasy football, and we're also going to get into some fantasy baseball. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
We are the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
You're just start fresh someplace else. No job, no family, just walk away. That's my number one fantasy.
Number one fantasy pick, Don.
David Johnson.
Good. That's good.
Great.
Make sure to join the Armchair Quarterbacks right here. We'll answer all your questions, pickups, trades, you name it. You want to win your league? Then listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's fantasy football time.
What's happening in sports? Find out when it happens. Get the CBS Sports app free in the Android market and iTunes App Store.
Top Gun Supply stocks a wide range of firearms, so stop on by at Top Gun Supply at 525 State Road 16 in St. Augustine. Top Gun Supply is open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Top Gun Supply, the friendly gun shop.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Go, Red Sox.
The last segment of the Armchair Quarterbacks app, radio show, and Facebook Live. We're talking baseball. We'll be talking pickups, trades, who's hot, who's not, sleepers and busts. And with that, we'll also be talking how these players perform and what it means to their teams and what to look for. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show, talking baseball.
Go, Red Sox.
And it's time to jump into DraftKings.
Go to DraftKings today at DraftKings.com. Golf, NASCAR, soccer, you name it. And of course, Major League Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. Go to DraftKings.com. Listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks for DFS advice all year round.
This year, choose a yogurt that's right for you. With 2 grams of sugar per 5.3 ounce serving. Too Good Greek yogurt is too good to be true. So Delicious dairy-free yogurt and Silk yogurt alternatives are delicious plant-based swaps you can enjoy by the spoon or add to recipes. Oikos 000 yogurt and Light and Fit yogurt are tasty, non-fat yogurt options. So many flavors, varieties, and possibilities. Elevate any recipe and your everyday with yogurt. Shop at Target.
Good morning. Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks on a beautiful Monday morning. Doug, that screen's getting worse, man. You quit sitting on it.
Last day. It's in the mail. It'll be here tomorrow. I had to fight with everybody just to get it for next week, let alone try to get it for this week. Can't believe what you got to go through just to get one phone.
You sit on your phone? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how this thing spiderwebbed the way it did.
No, I was working and I have to use my phone when I'm working and I dropped it. It just fell out of my pocket.
I thought maybe you got overzealous on the wrong website and, got out of the phone around. Blacked out and hit the headboard.
I wasn't that happy.
Oh,
would have been it would have been a happy ending, right?
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Okay, let's go diving into fantasy baseball. So how are you feeling about your teams? What week are we in? We're in week 15. We're week 15, in the middle of week 15, which means we've got about, I think, 7-ish fantasy weeks left, if that, before the playoffs. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about your team right now? I'm looking at the Big Dynasty League. I see you're 3-3, so you're hanging in there. What's 3-3? 7-7. You're number 3 in the league, which means if it stopped right now, you would make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 3 teams on your. This is interesting. I haven't really looked at this because I've been lucky enough to win several games this year. No one's really out of this. Even Rocky Top, who I had just assumed was out of it.
No,
he's only 2 games behind 3rd place and 1 game behind 4th place.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing. Oh, and you're playing Rocky Top this week. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a long week. This week and the first week are my 2 most disliked weeks in fantasy baseball because they last like 11 days. And It's asinine and it sucks. I know there's no perfect way to do it because I get if you were to make it a 4-day week or a 3-day week, essentially what it be, then people will complain about that you get the credit for 1 win in such a small period of time. But my complaint is you get the same amount of wins for 10 days as you normally get for 7.
Yep.
But I am helping you out a bit. One of the guys on your tails, Inflicted Shock. I'm up by 160 on him right now.
Ugh.
So hopefully he can't outscore me by 160 to Sunday. We still got a long way to go though. But all in all, how are you feeling about your team?
Dynasty team, I feel pretty good. I mean, it's actually over the years, it's now actually become kind of at least consistently it can win. So that league, I feel I'm right where I expected to be. So
oof. I just looked at the auction league. You're way down in the auction league, man.
Now, on the other hand, the other ones, I've got so many. I could complain. They just terrible. They just too many injuries, way too many injuries. If you were to look at my DL list, I'm playing with one hand tied behind my back every week. So, I mean, I could rebound if these guys get off the DL and start playing consistent. I might make a second win comeback, but at this point, I'm just like, somebody kill me. Somebody kill me.
In the YouTube league, you're sitting at 6th.
Yeah.
So you got a fighting chance there. You're only 2 games back, but once again, I think we only have, let me see. If we're in week 15, you see how many weeks there actually are in the regular season. Well, no, it may be less than I think. 20. So there's only 20. I thought there was 21 or 22. So there's 20. So at the end of this week, we'll have 5 weeks left.
Yeah, everybody have to come off the DL and play their best. These pitchers would have to play their best baseball for 5 straight weeks. So I'm not liking my chances too much. I don't
want to hear about injured guys, man. I got guys injured out the yin yang, and I'm crippled on I can't pick up, or I can't carry a normal roster because I don't want to drop some of these guys.
That's what I'm saying, and that's the position I'm in. Yep.
What really sucks is just by the time I think I get through some of it, then Aaron Judge goes on the freaking COVID list. I'm like, what the hell, dude? I mean, what the hell? The YouTube league's not as bad. I've been able to absorb. Which there's one of them. It might be the dynasty team. There's one of them where I've got like 3 guys on the IL that aren't on an IL position because I don't have any room to put them in there.
Right.
Yeah, it must be that one.
Yeah, but you're so far ahead in that dynasty league. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna affect you that much. I mean, aren't you like 12-2?
Well, yeah, but that's because I'm awesome.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I've been dealing with this all year.
I know.
I mean, I'm up on home skill by 160 points going into this morning, and it's James Wallace, not Forbes. And dude, I've got 2 pitchers sitting on the IL that I can't put on the IL position, like they're just there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got 2 pitchers and a bat. I got 3 IL positions or players on the IL that I can't put on my position IL to free up space because because it's a keeper league, and that's what makes it the worst. I've got Acuna on that. I can't drop him for obvious reasons. You know, he comes back next year, forget about it. But dude, Enoa, Severino, Soroka, Flaherty, all these jackasses are hurt.
Yeah, I've got the same thing going on. I've got 8 pitchers. I think in both leagues, I have at least 6 to 7 pitchers on the DL. I mean, it's completely filled up my spot.
Just like regular baseball, fantasy baseball is a war of attrition.
Yep.
You know, it's anything but a sprint. And I don't even know if marathon is the right. It's more like a freaking pentathlon or what is it? What's the one where you have to swim, run, and bicycle? Decathlon. I think that's it. Anyways, it just seems like once you get through one big stage, you got another stage punching you right in the face. It absolutely sucks.
Yep.
But let's dive into DFS because you can always affect your DFS. I'm still expecting, even though I've got the best team in all 3 of those leagues that we just talked about, I'm still expecting to maybe win 1 championship because I know how fantasy baseball is. And no matter how good I've been, you run into 1 bad week and it's all over. It's a lot like fantasy football, but it's more frustrating with baseball because when you have the best team all year long and you don't win it, you know, you've been proving this day in and day out. Fantasy football, we all know what that is. It's hoping your guys are healthy and hoping that they have good matchups in the week.
Exactly.
And so, but let's go ahead and dive into DFS, and hopefully this goes better than last time I did it with Matt. So
okay,
where I don't even have time to get into that, Doug. It was just he didn't even realistically understand what we were doing when I said we're doing DFS, even though we had talked about it off air. I said, hey, we start doing DFS with you where you pick pitchers and, you know, stacks that you like. I said, you don't worry about we're filling out an entire roster because we don't really have time for that. I was like, but, you know, fill it out. And we go to talk fantasy baseball. The short of it is he's like, I don't make my decisions this early in the day. I'm like, What are you talking about? When the hell are you going to do them? Because we're doing the show now. You going to live update me with a Facebook Live or something at 6 o'clock this evening? The hell are you talking about? Anyways, that's founding. I learned right then, don't put him on the fantasy football show on Sundays. Check. Get him off there. Get him off there. Okay. Let's go into, so obviously the big slate that you're looking at. Who are you liking? Give me a couple pitchers you like and the stack that you like.
Pitchers I like. If you want to go top end, obviously one of the big choices for today is Kyle Gibson. Now a lot of people would say Kyle Gibson will not do well because he did not do well against the Tigers.
Most people would say Kyle Gibson will do better than Tom Gibson. I don't know who the hell Tom Gibson is, but I digress. Go ahead.
Kyle Gibson will play well against the Tigers today, even though there are a lot of pundits that think that because he had a bad game last time against the Tigers, I don't think history is going to repeat. So if you want a top end pitcher for today, that's a good one to have. I think he comes in at 9,000.
Yeah, I do like that one. It's Shohei Ohtani day. Are you digging him today, or you're?
No, I think that's a bust.
Okay.
I think Oakland's going to own him today.
So where are you going for your second guy?
Second guy, if you want to go low end, since you went high end here, I like Tony Gosselin at $7,500 because his excuse me, his over and under is like it's like a positive 135. So if you need you need something on the cheap, I think he's the best of your cheap end pitchers.
Okay, so my cheap end pitcher, I would go Casey Mize against Texas. He's only 6,600. That seems like a steal. I can see that being a pitcher's duel. So I'm not doubting. I'm not doubting your Gibson pick. If you want to go real ballsy, you grab Gibson and Mize and throw them in the same game.
True. The only thing about Mize that I'm concerned about, because I think the Tigers are slowly, they're not letting him finish games. They're kind of their season's over with, and since he's their top pitcher now, and he's their young kind of superstar on the rise, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't pitch any more than 5 innings today.
But strikeouts is where you make your money, and so that's why I would go with him. If he's pitching well, I wouldn't shock me for them to let him go 6. But I'm with you; they're not going to let him go deep into a game because there's no point in it. The other guy that and another cheap one that I like. Look, Kyle Muller's been pretty darn good, and he's 7,600 at home against San Diego. I get it that San Diego is a good team. They've also had an exhausting series so far against Washington. They could come out a little flat tonight. So I could see their bats being the high-end pitcher that I like. Now, is he been ruled out altogether? Gausman, it says he's out, but then they have him listed. Okay, it says he will be activated. All right, so he had a family medical emergency, but it looks like he's going to be back tonight. Gausman, 10,000 against LA in LA. I expect him to have a phenomenal game. What lineup are you stacking today?
I got 2 to choose from. Best one that I think is believe it or not, is the Reds and Mets, taking the Reds, stacking the Reds against the Mets at home.
I like that.
Yeah, the Mets pitching is like really seriously tired right now. I mean, they're
put guys in that you're like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Yeah,
they got Eichhoff in there. His 4.97 ERA scares you enough. Here's the thing that jumped out at me. He's got a 1.66 whip.
Ugh.
For people that don't understand that, he has pitched 12.2 innings so far this year. He's given up 7 earned runs. Yeah, that ain't good. 6 home runs. He's given up 6 home runs. What the hell is that about? And then to top it off, well, I guess I don't have the hits. Oh, yeah, 17 hits in the 12 2/3 innings pitched. I'm stacking the Reds. I'm with you. That's my pick to click. I think the Reds will actually win today. Gutierrez is a solid pitcher. He's not the best fantasy pitcher because he doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, but I'm talking real baseball. That is I don't want to say lock, but if I was going to have a lock of the day, that would be my skin in the game is take them and run. All right, let's go ahead and get into fantasy football as that season is here. It's here. And it's, by the way, Gutierrez and the Reds, I'm just looking it up right now. They are, let me log in to make sure this is updated. It is, minus 112 today. Minus 112. Give people an idea. Normally a home team, if they have the better pitching matchup, they're usually a minus 140 bare minimum. So definitely jump on that today. The Reds, I think, will beat the Mets. So I just sealed the Reds' fate right there.
As if we didn't have enough problems right now.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's get into fantasy football. Our top 10 running backs, our sleepers, our busts. I'm interested to see. I'll run over my top 10 real quick. We did this on Saturday, but I'll throw it out there again. Well, actually, do yours first, and then I'll give mine out.
You want busts first or sleepers?
Give me your top 10 running backs first, and then we'll go sleepers and busts.
Oh, well, top 10 running backs. I mean, you're going to go overall, your top 10 running backs are going to be McCaffrey, Henry, Elliott. I'm sorry, I don't have my list. I have my bust and sleepers list.
Once again, between you and Matt Carr, y'all just never come prepared. All right.
I do know. You know that's not true. You know that's not true at all. I'm just ready to talk about sleepers and busts. 22. Hang on, I'll give you my top 10 list. Good Lord.
I don't need you to Google a top 10 list. I said tomorrow, fantasy running backs, your top 10 and sleepers and busts.
Oh, mine just said sleepers and busts. All right, just good Lord.
Okay,
all right.
because your text message came up different than what I said. Get the hell out of here. Just give me your sleepers and busts and we'll move on.
All right. Busts as follows. Miles Sanders, Chris Carson.
Doug is a bust.
Oh my goodness. Miles Sanders, Chris Carson, Melvin Gordon, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, Cam Akers, Travis Etienne, Joe Mixon.
We just off. Slow down there, Quasimodo. The first one. Give me your first. Give me a reason why you think a guy's a bust.
Miles Sanders, just simply because Jalen Hurts is starting quarterback, and that guy's going to run the ball more. And I just think Miles Sanders isn't going to get as many touches. You're going to have Jalen Hurts just running around the field a lot this season. So I don't think Miles Sanders, considering his ADP, I think he's a bust.
All right. My first bust I'll throw out at you is I think Jonathan Taylor's being drafted extremely high.
I agree on that.
He's number 5 right now on the big board on fantasy pros right now. Okay. That's extremely high to me. And this is based off of everyone's ADP is what I get that the kid's got talent, but he's going to battle Marlon Mack. And I don't trust Frank Reich's offense. I don't trust that he will just give it to a running back. I think he likes the committee. And I think if you draft a guy in the top 5, top 10, dude, he better be the bell cow. He better be the damn bell cow. And he's not just going top 5 running backs right now. He's going top 5 overall.
Yeah.
Which to me, which is insane. My other one is Antonio Gibson. He's ranked number 11. And I'm not saying either one of these guys aren't going to be good fantasy football players. But 11. For one time, my entire career, I'm going to say Joe Mixon should be ranked above Gibson. I'm going to actually give Mixon props. Because Gibson is a converted wide receiver who has never carried the note that often for that long.
Yeah.
He normally gets banged up. Austin Eckler's being ranked below him. J.K. Dobbins is below him. Chris Carson, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, Myles Gaskin. All these guys I have more faith in for a year long. I'm not talking about DFS, a year long, and they're going to be on my roster. Dude, I need guys got some meat on his bones. Give me another bust.
Another bust. You just mentioned him as being ahead, but I got Chris Carson as a bust. I mean, the guy's turning into fool's gold for like the last 2 or 3 years now. He has not been, especially I guess where his ADP is too. I just think he's going to be a bust again.
His injury concerns do worry me. He used to be one of my favorite ones to draft because you would get him late in the draft, and he always overperformed. Now it's doing the reverse. Now people are aware of how good he is, but he's been getting banged up, so he's been overhyped. So him sitting at 17, it feels about right, but I do think that I would draft a couple of guys in front of him, so I can see that. Give me a sleeper. Give me a deep sleeper that you're like, man, this guy's way down on the board, but I got a feeling that he could have a big year.
He could have a big year, and this is a real deep sleeper. J.D. McKissick.
Wow.
He's a deep handcuff with what's his name in Washington, with Gibson, Washington.
Right.
Because Gibson, I think, is injury prone as well. But one thing that people don't realize with McKissick, he's really good out of the backfield. And as bad as Washington's offensive is, I could see him contributing a lot, at least in that passing out of the backfield.
By the way, is not going to be bad this year, because I'm telling you right now, with Fitzpatrick at the helm, Fitzpatrick is a damn good quarterback, and I'm assuming he's going to be the starter.
I'm assuming that as well. I'm just being pessimistic that way because it is Washington, but at least a Washington offense anyway. But yeah, he's a deep sleeper. He's somebody that you take, nobody thinks about. You just scoop him up and you put him on your bench and
scoop him up late in the draft and you piss off the guy that drafted Antonio Gibson in the
or if you got Gibson,
if you got Gibson, you better handcuff him. But here's the issue: if you grab Gibson, you're looking to handcuff McKissick. I mean, how early are you drafting McKissick?
If you're handcuffing,
his ADP right now is for running backs is 50.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just for running backs. So that's deep in the draft. I mean, that's very deep in the draft. He's fallen behind guys like Phillip Lindsay, Jamal Williams, Tony Pollard, right? So you're talking about damn near at the end of the draft. If you draft Gibson, are you willing to wait that long and hope that no one grabs McKissick? That could screw you.
It is risk. I said it's deep. I said it's really deep. I mean, it's risky, but it's a very high risk reward kind of situation. It's either feast or famine. I do give you that.
I got one more. I got one more sleeper, and then we got to run because we're out of time. Mike Davis, I think, is being drafted way too low.
I agree.
23. I think Mike Davis is easily top 15 this year.
I think he's the top. To me, he's the top end sleeper in the league this year. I think he's really
good. Honestly, your boy Drake that came over from Arizona, that's in Raider Nation now. Dude, don't sleep on him, man. Because if Jacobs doesn't perform this year, Kenyon Drake, or something happens to Jacobs, dude, Kenyon Drake's a beast if he can get his hands on the ball. That's always a big if. Everywhere he is, it's always a big if of, is he? Brian says, at least Doug doesn't file his nails. I guess that was in response to me giving you a hard time about your phone. Okay. If you missed that, Doug, Sean was filing his nails one day. He didn't realize that his camera wasn't on.
Oh God!
And they're filing away. We were at break or had a sound clip. I think he thought he was off air. He's just filing his nails. What the hell are you doing to me over here? Every time I turn around, one of you guys are screwing me. All right, it's time to turn back time and do our walk-offs here on a Monday morning. All right. On this date in 1982, in front of 29,000 fans at Washington's RFK Stadium, the American League beats the National League in the first ever Old Timers Classic 7-2. Warren Spahn gives up a leadoff home run over the left field fence to 75-year-old Luke Appling, a Hall of Fame infielder who played with the White Sox. I, for one, really wish they would bring this back. You don't see it anymore.
No.
I grew up as a kid. It only lasted for like maybe 10 years. Considering the fact these guys live longer and longer and in better shape, I would love to see an old timers game get brought back. It would be phenomenal to watch, like guys are popping in my head right now, like Chipper Jones or Dale Murphy, if you want to go further back. See them go. It would be more fun to watch the recent old timers. Like, in other words, guys that have been only retired for the last 10 to 20 years. Have them play a softball game if you want, but it would be a lot of fun to bring that back. Birthdays. It's your birthday today. All right, the dead guy. We're gonna go with here's something different. Sofia Muratova, Russian gymnast from 1952 to 1960. She won 6 gold medals, 3 silver, and 4 bronze. Born in Leningrad, Russia. The hell do you know about Sofia Muratova?
That when they dug up her body, she had more steroids in her system than any Olympic athlete in history.
Happy 47th birthday to Mr. Preston Wilson of Florida Marlin fame, back when they were the Florida Marlins. Always like Preston Wilson. We'll throw one more out at you. How about happy... well, you know what? We'll do another dead guy because I didn't realize it was his birthday till I just saw it here. He would have been, 35. He would have been, God, would he really have only been 56 years old today? Happy birthday, Stuart Scott from ESPN, born in Chicago, and we lost him in 2015. Did not realize it was his birthday today. So happy birthday to Stuart Scott. I know a lot of sports broadcasters were influenced by him. So kudos to him. What's your walk-off today, sir?
Walk-off today after watching the Reds get swept by the Brewers and watching how hideous our pitching is. This organization needs to go out by July 30th and find some relief pitching. But unfortunately, I have a bad feeling the owners of this team have no imagination. They're probably one of the cheapest organizations in baseball. I have a bad feeling that after July 30th, we're going to be just the same as we were before July 30th and can't pitch worth a darn.
Can I just say ditto and put the Braves in where you said the Reds?
Yes, you may. Yes, you may.
This team would have swept the Rays, and they would have been 2 games out of first place as we woke up this morning, as opposed to 4, if Atlanta had a bullpen. And their bullpen is just atrocious. And the obvious guy that they should bring back, it would be a fan favorite. People would just jump through the roofs, but they're too cheap. They're never going to get them. Would be Craig Kimbrell. But they need a couple of other pieces. But if they get Craig Kimbrell, it would stretch that entire bullpen to be a little better. But I don't think they're going to. I think Kimbrell's going to head somewhere like Boston. He's going to be somewhere where they're like someone who goes after Kimbrell's going to have to give up quite a bit. And that means that you think that you are an actual contender. My walk off for the day real quick is it is National Words with Friends Day. Have you ever played that?
No, I haven't. No.
It's almost like Scrabble.
Oh, okay.
It's an app, and you can send it. You download the app, and then you find people who are playing, and you take turns. Is essentially what it's like. It's like playing Scrabble, but you play it with someone, and when they get a chance, they respond and back and forth. I haven't played it in 4 or 5 years. I didn't know they had a national day, but I did play. I played it for about a 6-month stretch. I want to say it was around the time I was out at the old pizza joint. I want to say that's where I picked it up at. It was some restaurant I was working at that a handful of people were playing, and then I don't know, I just lost interest. Man, you haven't responded to my game in like 6 weeks. I go, what game? Oh yeah, that was the problem with the game. It was too easy to forget about. See you next week, sir. Hopefully you'll have some kind of a top 10 team, top 10 list put together by then. And
Sleepers and bots.
Start working on it now, and you can get one player a day. Okay.
All right, we'll see you.
Get a top 7 list for you, so it's not too daunting.
Oh my goodness.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show.
Damn smokers cough.
Unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette.